I agreed with everything that Lynette said, except that I think I might have the best job in the world. I get paid to research gratitude for a living, so pretty good. And today I want to tell you about 4 objections, common objections I hear to experiencing more gratitude in the workplace. So number 1 is this idea that it's forced, right? Someone from HR attends some, I don't know, gratitude and well-being at work event. They go back to the company and suddenly an edict is passed down, okay? We've got to start this culture of gratitude. We need more gratitude in the workplace. And people ask, does gratitude work if someone tells me I have to practice it? And the answer is probably. So I'm a researcher. I hesitate to ever definitively say yes. But we do know that in the research on gratitude, what happens is we're actually assigning people to be grateful. That's what's typically done, right? You take a bunch of participants, and they don't know what's going to come when they sign up for this study. Half of them, we say, OK, for a week, you're going to write down things you're grateful for. Or you're going to write a letter of gratitude to someone that matters to you. And the other half are assigned to some other task that doesn't induce gratitude. So we're essentially forcing them to be a little more grateful. And we find that it works. It helps. They're, all the things that Bob said. They're healthier, they're happier, they have more satisfying relationships, they sleep better. So even when we're assigning people to these conditions, we're still seeing these benefits. We also know a little bit from the clinical domain where gratitude practices have higher retention rates than typical therapies. So there's only a few studies on this, but what they've done is take a gratitude intervention, like writing up to 6 things you're grateful for each day, and they compare it to the gold standard intervention for something like depression or body weight issues. And they find that both of those interventions are equally beneficial in terms of reducing the problems that people are having. But the gratitude intervention, people are more than 2 times as likely to complete it. So less people are dropping out. And that's actually a huge deal in the clinical world. But what it means for us is what's going on there is people are enjoying it. They're being told they need to do this, but they actually find that they like it. Once you get into it, once you experience the gratitude, it feels good. And so they're more likely to keep doing it. So even if gratitude starts through this feeling of being told you have to practice it, there's a lot of evidence that it's still going to benefit you. So along those lines, though, the second one I hear is this idea that it's fake, right? You're being forced to do it, and being told to be grateful will then just lead to a bunch of fake platitudes. And this is important and true, that we don't want inauthentic expressions of gratitude. We don't want people to feel forced to say something they don't actually mean. If anyone's heard a sarcastic thank you said at them, those are generally worse than no thank you at all, right? But it doesn't have to be a love letter every time you express gratitude. It doesn't have to be putting someone in a hot seat, a gratitude hot seat, if you're not feeling that. It's about finding those genuine moments of gratitude and creating a culture and a systematic way to let people express it when they are feeling it. We all experience gratitude genuinely, but if the culture is you keep that to yourself, then you're losing out on those opportunities for connection that Lynette was talking about. So again, it's about being authentic and when you express the gratitude, but finding a way and having a platform to do that when it's felt. And so along these lines, and this is very much in line with what Lynette was saying, is when you do then express your gratitude, you can get the most out of it and make it the most impactful by putting the you in thank you. And this came from a researcher, Sarah Aljo, who does a lot of work on gratitude, and the importance of thanking someone not just for what they're doing, but for who they are as a person. And that when you do that, you take gratitude to that extra level and make more out of it and get more benefits. So how to say thank you, in other words. Not that most of us who've been around for a while have been saying thank you for a long time, but I just want to walk you through this idea. So imagine that some colleague has developed this ritual of bringing you coffee mid-morning. And of course they bring it to you and you say, thank you for bringing me my coffee. If you didn't say that, you'd be seen as rude. We have a lot of expectations in our society that you say thanks when someone does something nice for you. But if all you say is thanks, you're missing out on an opportunity to connect and have more of a bond with that person and really let them know that you appreciate who they are as a person. So if you turn it around and instead one day say, Thank you for bringing me my coffee. You're always so thoughtful. I appreciate that you remember how I love a mid-morning coffee, but I can't leave my desk to go get it, right? That extra putting the you in it takes that gratitude expression to the next level. So again, it's not about expressing gratitude when you don't feel it. It's about taking those moments when you do and making the most out of them. And some people hesitate to make these extra steps. It feels uncomfortable, feels a little weird to say this. And I always just push people back and say, how would you feel if someone said this to you? Imagine the kind of thanks that you would like to receive. And my husband is actually at home with my child who woke up sick this morning. And I wanted to say thanks to him for staying home and taking care of her, right? And I had a moment of, should I not say this? Is it going to be insulting? To say, thanks for doing that, for your hard work. And then I switched around. I was like, how would I feel if I got that email? And I would feel recognized. I would feel valued and appreciated. So I sent it, and it got a good reply. So I do put yourself in those other shoes, and it's amazing how often we realize, hey, that would feel good. Why would I not give that, right? It's that writing the letter to the VP. Okay, so number 3 is that it's fluffy. Workplaces are serious business. There's no room for gratitude. It's just one of those fluffy, new agey terms that doesn't belong in serious workplaces. And I hear this a lot. And gratitude people often put out there as the cure to everything. And I research gratitude, and I do think it has many benefits. But sometimes because of this idea that it's just this fluffy idea that people don't take it seriously. And again, my pushback here is that at its core, gratitude is simply about feeling valued, right? It's my favorite definition of it is really a definition of appreciation, that it's noticing and acknowledging the value and meaning in something or someone. At its core, it's about seeing value in others. It's I see you, right? And it's about feeling valued by others. And feeling valued is this basic human need that we have, and we need it to be met. And increasingly, people are expecting that to be true in the workplace. It's not enough to just give you a paycheck for doing your job anymore. So one recent survey by Office Team asked employees about feeling appreciated, and they found that 66% of the employees they surveyed said they would leave a company if they didn't feel appreciated. This is up from 51% in 2012. And if you just look among millennials, it goes up to 71%. So more than 2/3 of the people they talked to or surveyed would leave if they didn't feel appreciated and recognized for what they were doing. Another sort of counter to this idea of it's fluffy is that business, there's a lot of stress. You're very busy, right? How do I have time to fit in another gratitude practice? I'm stressed, I'm busy. There's no time for that. This is not the time for these positive emotions. I need to focus. And in fact, what we know from the research is that during stressful times, gratitude may be particularly beneficial. It helps you take a step back, gain perspective, reframe your thinking. So when we're stressed, when we're experiencing negative emotions, our focus narrows down. We get very myopic and think, this is the problem I have. I'm only focused on this. But when you experience positive emotions like gratitude, it helps you broaden your focus and see the bigger picture. And you can realize sometimes that what you're so worried about maybe isn't, not that it's not as important, but it puts it into perspective in the larger picture of life. And that can help you deal with that more effectively. So in many ways, the time to feel grateful or experience gratitude is really when it's the hardest to do that. When you don't want to take the time is when you're going to get the most benefits out of it. And from the other side of feeling appreciated, I think about that may be what keeps employees going when the going gets tough, keeps them there, right? You have someone working long hours, overtime on this hard project. If that employee doesn't feel like they're being seen or valued for their work, how likely are they to keep putting in all that extra effort? But if they're there and they're feeling that someone really sees them, someone values them, they recognize what they're doing, that may make all that hard work worth it and keep them going. Okay, number 4 is that it undermines authority. I could not think of an F for this, so if any of you come up with one, please bring it back to me, because it bothers me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. All right. Foils? Foils authority. I like it. Thank you. If only I could get them to quickly update the slide for you here. All right. So expressing gratitude is a show of weakness at work. It breeds complacency. So people have talked about this a little bit today. But I just want to counter this objection because, in fact, there is research that grateful leaders inspire trust. So in one set of studies, they looked at grateful expressions in leaders versus more proud expressions or leaders that had pride. And they found that leaders that were seen as more grateful, people said they trusted them more. They saw them as more benevolent, and they saw them as having higher integrity, which I think in our world today is something that we can all use. So instead of questioning that leader, seeing them as weak, it really created this connection and trust, which is so foundational. Another is that we know that gratitude actually energizes people. It doesn't make them more complacent. Instead, it motivates you to attain your goals. So expressing gratitude to an employer, having an employee feel grateful for where they work, isn't going to have them sit back and say, I already got everything I need. That's actually going to motivate them to work harder to maintain what they already have. And there's some great work that actually comes out of the romantic relationship literature showing that feeling appreciated can transform work from a should to a want. So they did a couple studies, and they had people look at lists of the mundane tasks that you do in a relationship, right? Household chores like doing the dishes, taking out the trash, going on runs to the airport to pick someone up. And they asked people how appreciated they felt for each of those tasks that they did. And they found that these tasks, these mundane, shoulds that you have to do for the maintenance of life and the maintenance of a relationship, when people felt appreciated for them, they reported that they actually wanted to do them, that they liked them, right? In some ways, feeling appreciated was this intrinsic reward that you get at the end of it that makes it all worth it, again. And so what I think is even cooler about this is they found that among people who felt appreciated for what they did, these mundane chores, the more chores they did, the more satisfied they were with their relationships. So this is something you can take home as a trick to get your partner to start doing the dishes. If you add that extra thing, they actually were more satisfied because they felt valued for what they were doing, and it became a worthwhile task that made them feel good about their relationship because it created this opportunity to feel valued and connected. And finally, as a somewhat of a caveat here, is to say, but we should not expect managers and employees to necessarily express gratitude the same way. So there are nuances about crossing power lines and expressing gratitude. A manager may be able to stand up in front of a group of people at a project meeting and express thanks for the hard work of some employee, and the employee may not feel the same comfort at standing up and verbally expressing gratitude to their boss in that situation, or acknowledging them. So being aware of that we should express gratitude up, down, across, but how we do that may play out in different ways. But if organizations can create systematic ways for people to express their gratitude and formats for that, it may become more accepted to express gratitude up, down. Also, just another nuance here is that there is evidence that when you're higher in power, you're more suspicious of other people's motives, right? So that story, again, that Mike told about the letter to the VP, and she's always feeling like people want something from her. That's a true phenomenon. It's hard to separate out the people who want something from those that don't. But again, if we can create systematic ways to express gratitude and platforms through which to do that, then those suspicions of people's motives can fall away. So returning to these 4 potential objections, it's forced. Turns out, well, that's okay. People are probably going to like it anyways, and it's going to work. It's fake. Yes, we don't want inauthentic gratitude, but people experience it genuinely, and it's about creating opportunities for them to express it when they do. It's fluffy. No, really, at its core, it's just about value, this basic human need. And it undermines or foils authority. No, in fact, it increases trust, and it energizes people rather than making them complacent. And it turns work from a should into a want. So I just quickly want to take a moment and think about how one act of gratitude can inspire gratitude amongst more people. This idea of, again, you say thanks, someone gives it back to you, it feels good. So imagine that a manager leaves this event, goes home, wants to express gratitude to their employees more, and they do so in whatever means is appropriate. Their employee picks up on it, feels appreciated. When you feel appreciated, that's one of the most robust predictors of having more gratitude yourself. It helps you recognize, hey, this company, this person, they care about me, they see me, that's a situation worth staying in. I'm lucky to be here. That gratitude inspires them to express their own gratitude, maybe verbally, maybe through their behaviors, being more engaged, being more productive. Feeling appreciated keeps people in their jobs. When I express that gratitude, the manager feels appreciated for it. The company says, hey, this person's working hard. They see that. They feel more grateful for that person themselves, which inspires them to then express their gratitude, and the cycle completes. This is a model that, again, I developed for romantic relationships, but as I thought about it more, it is so relevant to the work context. So I just want to leave you with what I really think about when I think about gratitude and appreciation, is that a person who feels appreciated will always do more than what is expected. That's what we see in real life, that's what we see in the research, and so gratitude inspires people to do more. Thank you.